Aubrey, very good evening to you, and thank you for being on Nightline tonight. So we're hearing 3,000 workers likely to lose their jobs as a result of this retrenchment process. When did you find out, and how was it communicated to you?
Oh, well, firstly, good evening to you and the viewership. We actually were called yesterday in the restructuring, not restructuring, but a strategic meeting that was turned literally into a briefing session where Telkom actually lamented about the downscaling economy and a number of other things. So this morning they've sent us eventually 2 letters. One is from the Telkom corporate group, and the other one is from the Trudon, which is subsidiary of their company, saying what we have just alluded to, that over 3,000 workers are going to be dismissed.
So 3,000 people likely to sit without jobs. Do we know when this process is likely to begin?
Well, firstly, Telkom is saying that they're going to start the consultation process on the 22nd and the 23rd, respectively. They also indicated that it will be a first phase that will end around about end of March. They will start with a second phase that will end around May, same here. So it's going to be a massive job losses. And there's something that, of course, when they give the rationale behind it, it doesn't sit well with us because they give us the obvious reasons, the things that we could have planned for. So it demonstration that the cooperative plan of Sipho Masego and that recycled business leader, Jabu Mabuza, was then later on moved to Eskom and failed as well. That corporate plan has basically failed, and as a result, workers are standing to suffer.
So the reality is, at this point, it seems Telkom will move full steam ahead with these planned retrenchments. Will you, as the CWU, oppose this plan?
Absolutely, we are opposing. We have no choice. Workers, I think they must unite. They must fight against this onslaught. Let us remind the public that Telkom is also SOE. The large shareholder here is government, and it means that the state is retrenching over 3,000 workers. But secondly, one of the rationale that Telkom puts in place is the micromanagement by the state, which they refer to ICASA, also of the things of the data prices that should drop. They raise this indirectly to say these are the reasons that they should retrench workers. These are things that have not yet had an impact on the business, but it's a clear demonstration that the employers have no any other strategy to grow the business, to competitively in the market, but what they are doing is to retrench workers so that they can get this artificial profit from time to time. So one of the targets that the CW must face, amongst others, is the government itself. Even if we were to have a night vigil at the Luthuli House, let it be, because workers have to defend themselves and defend the jobs that are there and also the economy of the country.
In that defense, will you be going to court?
Well, it will depend what is presented in terms of Section 189. Remember, Section 189 guides you in terms of what needs to happen. Already there's a referral to CCMA that is put by the Telkom. So we have to follow and exhaust all of those processes for us to take that particular decision.
And in your dealings with the Eskom, not Eskom, beg your pardon, with Telkom, all of them in crisis really, it would appear at this point, in speaking to those in charge, prior to the meeting that was had yesterday, did you as Labour have a sense that it would come to retrenchments, especially at the level at which we're expecting 3,000 plus people to go?
Well, you know, as a trade union movement, we've been experiencing this from time to time. Last year, we were here in the studio alluding to the same thing, that we don't see any new strategy that has been brought forward by the business. We have made a number of proposals, by the way, in trying to cap this retrenchment that are ongoing. One of the things we spoke about, the spectrum and that has to be issued to Telkom, a number of other things. And of course, it fell on the deaf ears. But we have a management here that is eager to just dismiss workers. And this is the reflection that privatizations of SOE yield no results. This is what has happened since 1996, when Telkom, part of Telkom was sold to private sector. Since then, we dropped from over 69,000 workers to what, around 10,000 as we stand now.
Do you think even in terms of your fight back, you would have more room to maneuver if there wasn't private involvement?
Absolutely, we think so. I think if you have an institution like Telkom that sold Vodacom for next to nothing, which cost them dearly, we fought that case in court, and everyone stood against trade union, COSATU and CWA in the forefront. We've lost that case. They said there will be no job losses. We suffered that almost immediately. We keep on warning our government to say that giving away institutions such as Telkom, you lose amongst others the infrastructure, you lose security, you lose the ownership of the industry itself, and it's an ongoing onslaught on workers. And so this is an indication that this time, now or never, workers must unite against the privatization at all fronts, and we must make sure that we defend workers against those neoliberalists from the Treasury right up until Pravin Gordhan, going to the Sipho Masego and all of them.
And when you look at Telkom, I mean, of the various entities where the government either is most of them, in fact, where the government is the main shareholder, it's not one in the recent years that you would have been associated with this sort of crisis, right? At least not in the mainstream. When you look at it now, do you get the sense that there are other areas where management could have chosen to cut and not workers?
Well, Telkom is in the ICT industry. It's one of the industries that is growing in terms of the GDP and a number of things, but is the one that is retrenching. There's a number of things that Telkom could venture into. Amongst others is to roll out the broadband in the township and number of areas, and to grow Telkom beyond the concentrated areas in the urban areas into the rural areas to seek to service to our people. That is not happening. What is happening now is we find a competition in what is oversaturated areas in terms of the business itself. So that's why Telkom finds itself where it is today. But they've stopped the copper, they've stopped a number of things, they've sold out properties of Telkom, they've cut the infrastructure. All these things are signs that it's really going towards privatization. It's got nothing to do with the development of the economy, it's got nothing to do with our people, it's got everything to do with individuals. So this is what we need to stand up against.
Obi Shabalala from the Communication Workers Union, thank you so much for being on Nightline tonight.
Thank you very much.